we're the crazy ones.
Are you one of the crazy ones? Do you aspire to be a successful entrepreneur? Then what attributes must you possess to be a successful entrepreneur? This is a highly debated question. I believe it all comes down to one attribute. They all know how to execute. So join me as we meet crazy people that will share the story of their entrepreneurial journey. I hope you'll be inspired. In this episode of An American Entrepreneur, we're going to visit a gentleman that knew he wanted to start a business, but wasn't sure about what kind of business. While driving along an interstate highway with his wife, they saw a mobile coffee truck and decided right then and there that that's the kind of business they wanted to start. So join me as he gives us a tour of his setup and shares the story of his entrepreneurship journey. Hey, good morning, John.
Good morning. How you doing?
Pretty good, man.
Welcome to Vagabond Coffee Bar.
All right. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes out of your morning to show us around. Well, let's check out the outside of your van real quick, and then we'll check out the inside, I guess.
Absolutely. Come on around.
So what year van is this?
It's a 1979 Peugeot J7. It was Scooby-Doo blue, and now they made it into this beautiful cream and white. We had to raise the roof actually up here. Cut it all along, raised it up about 5 inches just so I could stand up.
How tall are you?
About 6'1", 6'2".
And you can stand straight up in there?
Stand straight up.
Man, that's great.
So it's good.
I love the look of this thing, man. It's really vintage looking.
Thank you very much. It's what draws us to it. We wanted something different, something unique.
Oh, it is.
And I believe this brings that, and then deliver a great product as well.
Well, let's check out inside.
Come on in. So we have our beautiful espresso machine right here, our grinder, 2 refrigerators, in here we have our reverse osmosis water that feeds into the espresso machine to give us the best tasting we can. All of our syrups and sauces, our POS machine. We have a little display case up there, which we try and decorate for the seasons or for event-specific purposes.
Who picked all these colors out?
Oh, it's all my wife. All my wife.
And she's got good taste.
She did good.
Let me show the ceiling up here. Oh yeah, I love these lights there. It really looks cool.
Thank you.
How long did it take to get all this put together?
1.5 years.
Really?
Yes. So about a year for the outside, and then 6 months for the inside.
All right.
And then we got here in Texas, we got our Vagabond logo out there in Mineral Wells, Weatherford area.
All right, cool. All right, John, introduce yourself and your business here.
Okay, well, my name is John Wesley Ronald Gerke. I go by JW, but this is Vagabond Coffee Bar.
When did you start the business?
We initially put money down in January of 2021, and then we got the van on June 30th of 2022. So, and then we had our first soft opening at my wife's baby shower for our now 2-year-old. And ever since then, just slowly been working more and more, and now I do this full time.
What were you doing before you started this business?
I was working in nursing homes, so traveled a lot. I was a clinical liaison, director of rehab, just doing different things in healthcare, in nursing homes though.
Okay, so how did you end up becoming an entrepreneur? Who you were inspired by? How did the idea first come about? Was it you or your wife?
I think my wife probably helped motivate me. I guess I could say that. So she's always been an entrepreneur. She's a hairstylist by trade, worked for herself. She comes from that, and she would always talk to me. She says, I see how hard you work. I think whatever you want to do, if you put that much effort into what you do for other people, imagine what you could do for yourself and our family. And so she just really slowly kept planting seeds, and they finally sprouted. And so I took a risk, took a chance, and bought this van, and then, slowly worked at it, and then built more confidence, learned more things, still learn every day, and finally just decided to take the leap because we have one life to live. Got to try.
Well, how did you learn how to make all these drinks? Did you work at a coffee shop for a while before launching your own business, or did you just launch it?
No, my wife worked at a coffee shop for a little while, but we actually have a coffee mentor named Lance. He has a couple coffee shops out in kind of like Stephenville area, and we had him. He donated 3 hours of his time one Saturday to ask him and his wife actually to answer a bunch of questions that we had just about running a shop, and then we had him come out and teach us on our van before we served anything, like flow, how to steam, different things like that. Because we had a Breville Barista Pro at home, but it's just a whole different ball game going from something like that to something like this. So a commercial machine that's really fit for making great drinks. So we were good. We noticed a difference day one, just our ability to steam different drinks, go from latte to cappuccino, just our ability to do different things like that. And he helped us. He helped guide us. He helped teach us how to taste espresso, taught us about pour over, stuff that we don't even do here, but just the basics of coffee and how to get into that. And then we work with Oak Cliff Coffee Roasters as well. And they have different tasting classes and different things they can do to help us out as well.
Were you anticipating other kinds of businesses, or how did you land on coffee and a mobile coffee service?
Driving down Interstate 30 one day, no, I-20, from my house to my parents' house, and my wife and I we're always brainstorming. We're always discussing things. How can we do something different? How can we spend more time? At the time, it's almost like we were working so much, and we kept just spending more and more time apart from our family and our son. Our daughter wasn't here at the time. And as we're driving down the road, right before COVID hit, I see this coffee trailer, and I was like, you know what? We do coffee at home. We can do this. We can do that. And she said, okay. So ever since then, just driving down the road, I was like, it just clicked. Ever since then, I did a whole bunch of research into coffee, but I wanted to have something different, something that stands out, something that's unique, and not to take anything away from anybody else who has other food trucks, but I wanted something that's going to separate me from everybody else.
From the time you first thought about doing it to pulling the trigger on your first action to make it happen, about how much time went by?
A month and a half, 2 months.
Really? That's pretty quick.
Yes. So I immediately got onto it, which I guess I kind of procrastinated a little bit. But I really got into it, got researching. I found the company online. I spoke with them over the phone. They were overseas. Lots of emails, lots of different things, because we couldn't find anything anywhere except for this. And so when that worked out, I was like, all right, let's do it. So that was, I guess, November when we first came up with this idea. And then I think January 8th is when we first set our initial deposit overseas. And then ever since then, it just started working.
So what is your business model?
So we try and focus on a lot of private events. I think we can bring something different to all birthday parties, schools, graduation parties, weddings, anything. We also go and we post up at I don't want to say this for lack of a better word, like different kinds of office buildings, high executive, high level office buildings. And we go there as well.
Okay.
So we do pay for our service to be there, and then pay per cup.
When you go to an office building, I guess you go to the office managers or whatever and say, hey, I'd like to set up here, and because obviously you don't just roll up and set up. I mean, I guess you get permission from them?
We have to have permission, yes. We have to have basically a written letter saying that we're okay to set up there. And then I do go in and I talk with them. I've been fortunate to where they've reached out to me. I think they've mostly through word of mouth, or they've seen me driving down the road with this awesome van, and they've reached out to me, and then I've literally stopped what I'm doing to go and talk with them to try and make something happen. Because, you can wish a lot, but if you don't try and make something happen, nothing's going to happen. Stuff just doesn't happen.
Well, what is your marketing strategy for this business?
The most marketing strategy I've done is word of mouth. Very lately, I've been trying to get on Facebook and Instagram more, a little bit on LinkedIn, but mostly it's been word of mouth, other people giving us compliments, other people referring us. We live in a small community here in Texas, Aledo, and they take very good care of Aledo and surrounding small businesses. They just like small businesses, so it's nice. Fort Worth is very good. I've been to Dallas, Granbury, Weatherford, all around. So a lot of it's word of mouth for us. And then I'll just, if I'm not doing anything, like I will get online and I'll look for wedding venues. I will go look for other unique types of venues where we can go and we can provide a service that they may have, but maybe we can provide them a different kind of service. So even if they say no, I won't know. It's not a no unless you get a no.
Right. And it's not personal.
It's not personal. I can't take it personal.
If your numbers are, if it's 9 no, if you got to go to 10 people and you get 9 no's to get to 1 yes, then your objective is to get the 9 no's out of the way.
Yes.
Right.
And it's not you. Right. I think one of the things that I've learned as I'm going through this is, people are just going to say no. People are like, I'm not going to pay for that. No.
So do you charge minimums when you do an event?
I do, but I had to start off not doing that. So I'm getting more, I have to establish a name. Like I can't just go and expect someone to pay a minimum and not have any history of anything. So I pay. Before it wasn't, and then I've also, throughout the years that I've been doing this, because we're going on 2 years now, I've increased my minimums. I've gotten things better. When I first started, the van was messed up. We had plumbing leaks, we had electrical issues, just the systems. It's always evolving to be what can be more efficient and still maintain the great quality of coffee that we want to get. So as we get going, as you start, you can't expect the moon and the stars. You have to prove yourself. You just have to prove yourself. You have to go and do some things that you're not going to make money. Sometimes that's happened.
What are some of the challenges that caught you by surprise in doing this kind of a mobile business that really caught you by surprise, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Well, when I first going, I expected this to be exactly like an ice cream truck. I expected to literally drive around neighborhoods and just start serving coffee. Little did I know that I needed a 9,000 watt generator just for that espresso machine right there that's sitting to your left. So that changed things a little bit. Then I expected to be able to drive this all over the place. And then I realized after I got it for a month and I'm driving it, how much mechanical issues there could be going on. And then she goes so slow, 45 miles an hour down the road. That's downhill. Uphill, 25. I'm on the side waving people around me.
With your emergency flashers.
Yes, exactly. So it's just little things you learn.
So now you put it on a trailer and take it around, which is really a lot smarter thing to do.
I think so.
Really.
If I could get an enclosed trailer, that's what I would do. Because then I think I could keep it a little bit better, but I don't know if I could find one. But that's my next goal, is to get
Eventually
one of those.
will, if that's your goal. Well, as far as the coffee business in general, what are some things that you didn't know that you know now that surprised you?
Well, like I said earlier, just the power that one of these machines have. I do believe that your espresso can be really good, your lattes and cappuccinos can be really good, but if you don't have the machine is really important, like the type of machine you get. There's a huge difference between a $1,000 Breville that you can get at Williams-Sonoma versus the Simonelli Nuova, which is obviously, that machine's $9,000. So it's just a big difference in the quality of the coffee that's coming out. Another thing I didn't realize is beans. Beans, syrups, they have to pair well. Now, these beans that we use specifically pairs well with our espresso machine, how we have it dialed in, and the syrups and the milks we use. Didn't know that. I thought you just put things together and it wouldn't matter. No, that's not the case. And then, my continuing education in a way is like continuing looking at YouTube or for different, even just how to steam. I still go back and how to steam milk. And then I practice different things, training new people to do things, realizing that when you have people that's going to come help you work, they're not going to be you. And that's a hard thing for me to do. It's like nobody is ever going to be you, just like nobody's ever going to be you. So knowing that, accepting that, and just helping teach them to be the best they can be is another thing that I've learned throughout the years is what I need to do.
So what else do you sell? I believe, do you sell pastries? Do you sell tacos? What all do you sell besides the coffee and the lattes?
So yeah, we support other small local businesses as well, and we'll sell pastries or we'll sell donuts. And then we partner with another really good taco food truck in Fort Worth, and I get tacos for them 3 or 4 days a week. So we support them, they support us, because one thing that I've learned also is half the people that want coffee want something to eat with it. Didn't know that. I just wanted to know, maybe I knew that, I just wanted to believe differently. I wanted to believe that they're going to come for the coffee. Well, not everybody's just going to come for coffee. Some people just want food. We want to be able to offer something to everybody. Same with kids' drinks. You know, we make an incredible signature Vagabond hot chocolate, but not everybody wants a hot chocolate. Maybe they want lemonades. Maybe they want Italian sodas. We want to be able to provide something for everybody that comes in to experience our van and what we can provide.
Well, as far as just challenges overall from working for somebody else and then working for yourself, what's the biggest challenge that you found?
I would say the biggest challenge I found was working for somebody else. And again, there's no disrespect to who I was working for at all. They were good, no problems with anybody. But trying to give that effort to somebody else while I'm trying to develop something, it just wasn't working. And then trying to be a husband and a father and all of these things. I mean, there's some hours I was 8 hours a week between my other full-time job and this. Like, I had no time.
So you were doing both for a while?
I was doing both, yep. And obviously, the other job was paying all the bills. So I had to work that other job, and it slowly became to the point where I was getting more bookings, more opportunities to go different places, maybe not necessarily a booking, and I had to make that decision. Do I continue working 8 hours a week and not seeing my family? Or do I work 40, 50, 60 hours a week trying to build something for my family, my son and my daughter and my wife, and then be able to see them more and bring them along with me? I get to see my family more when I do this, which is really important. Now, I'm obviously working, but you know, it's different for me. And so that was a hard thing. Working for two people was just hard. And I have to be able, you just got to take that risk.
You got to
do it.
Take that commitment or make that commitment. Am I going to dedicate my life to this
Yes.
or something else? Because there's no halfway. You can't do it halfway.
No, you can't. And, you know, talking with other people that are in coffee, it's like a lot of people fail because they're not all in, if that makes sense. And that can be into probably any business. If you're not all in, if you got a foot out the door and you're trying to do something else, like you're scared or something like that, chances are you might not be able to make it. You do have to have cash flow. So you have to have the ability to pay the bills, but you have to make that choice of what you're going to do.
Was this your first business?
I've had a lawnmower business when I was little.
Right. Of course, I know your wife has.
She's
a hairstylist.
She is.
And so that's kind of self-employed as
Yes.
well, I guess. So you
Yes.
didn't really go 100% in the blind, I guess, on this. What point of sale system do you use?
We use Square.
Okay.
Square.
Does that give you good data of what you're selling and
Yeah,
good statistics and all that?
That'll break it down. It was hard to, sorry to interrupt you, but it was hard to, I mean, I'm going in blind, trying to set everything up. So, you know, a year and a half, 2 years in, I'm trying to fix things to give me a better, more accurate data picture of what's going on. But it breaks it down by hour, by day, what you're making, your gross sales, your net sales, tips, stuff like that. And it integrates well with QuickBooks, which is helpful for my accountant. And me as well. And QuickBooks is very good at reporting different things. So I'm happy with
It's a good dashboard.
Yes, good dashboard. And once we get bigger, you know, we're going to be looking at other options as well. But right now, even talking with other companies, it says probably Square is probably your best bet right now because we only have one truck.
Mm-hmm. So what are your plans now within the next 2 to 3 years for this business?
I would love to have another one of these. But we are in the process of purchasing another, like a unique vintage style trailer that's going to be more of a permanent setup. So we're going to have a permanent-ish location. We have a mobile coffee cart that we're waiting to put into a building. We have this. We would like to have a brick and mortar. But I mean, really the sky's the limit on what we can do and what we want to do. We saw success with this and we want more. We want to be able to create jobs. We want to be able to give our product to as many people as we can.
Are you the only employee right now, or shall I say, do you have any employees?
I do. I have probably 2 part-time employees right now. But again, it's me finding the ability to train as best I can and kind of let go of my control, which is something I work on every day, of how things are. It's just, you know.
What's your baby? A lot of people.
It's my baby.
So many entrepreneurs that they try to do everything themselves because they can't let go.
I think
it's just really difficult because you know how you want things.
Yes.
And you just, it's just a normal thing. But that's, once you find good talent, and you let go a little bit, and as they get more experience, you'll gain more trust in them.
And I'm learning that now as we speak. So I'm definitely getting more trust in one of my employees, which is really good. I believe in him, and then, yeah.
What advice would you give to someone that wants to do this, start a business just like this?
Find a mentor, find a coffee mentor that has a business, and just ask them questions. Pay for their time if you have to pay for their time. Have them teach you. Go work at some coffee shops if you want to. You got to know how to make the coffee. People aren't just going to come to you. You're going to make mistakes. Don't get frustrated at mistakes. Reach out to me.
Now, you went all out with this machine, and you spent a lot of money on refurbishing this van
Yes.
here. But if someone wanted to do this, what kind of dollar investment would it be if they went not really cheap, but kind of little, lower than what you did versus maybe higher? What kind of range are we talking about? Because you did go all out, but if someone could not go all out, what would you say would be a good dollar amount investment?
It depends what you're looking for. Are you going to do a coffee cart? Are you going to do a trailer?
Well, how about something like this, a van? Let's say I wanted to go buy a VW van, an old VW van.
You can find VW vans for $10,000 to $20,000. Okay, but then can you stand? You're going to have to raise the roof or do some kind of alteration there, unless you want to be hunched over all day, which isn't good for our posture. Machines, you're going to want to, it depends upon you can always upgrade. You can always sell, okay? I probably didn't need this big of a machine when I first started, but right now I'm happy I have it. I'll tell you that. It was a good investment at the time. You're going to need a good grinder. You need something that can pump out 30, 50, 100 double shots of espresso a day or more. So I would say your grinder, you're looking at $1,500 at least. You can probably get a good single head. So I have a double head, but you can get a good single head espresso machine for between $3,000 and $6,000. So, but we have two, and that works for us. We need two because that helps out with Americanos. One thing we want to focus on, I think it's going to help us grow is, and this could be for everybody, is just figuring out a system, like establishing your systems. And I hear that a lot when you look at a lot of successful entrepreneurs and people that have big businesses, they scale up, right? They have good systems in place for whenever you're not there. And that's what we're focusing on now, is working on these systems so people can learn the systems and not only have to be there.
So anything else, John, maybe you want to share?
Confucius said we have two lives, and our second one begins when we realize we have just one. So if you're thinking about doing something, you're not getting any younger. If you can do something, just try. See what happens. You might surprise yourself, but at least you'll try. At least you'll know that you at least tried.
Right. I mentioned in another video recently that I'd rather try and fail than to never have tried at all.
Yes.
And so many people won't try at all.
Yes.
And so many people look at failure as such a bad and negative thing. Well, of course, nobody wants to fail.
No.
Of course not. But I have failed at several businesses in my past, and I've always learned a whole lot. And sometimes, people can tell you something over and over again, and it's just not going to resonate with you until you do it and you fail. And then you realize, hey, I understand that now. I didn't understand that.
That's right.
People are telling me that back then. But it's just amazing what failure can do. Again, I don't ever wish that on anyone, but it's not really the bad thing a lot of people think it is. Of course, don't bet your life savings and your 401k.
Yeah.
But, I'd rather fail than to never have tried at all.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would rather fail, and at least I tried.
Yeah.
At least I tried, because when you have your business, whether or not it succeeds or fails is really up to you. How much do you believe in yourself to make something happen? It's not anybody else. It's you.
Well,
the product you're delivering.
When you started this business, I think earlier you told me your wife was actually pregnant with your second child?
Yes. Yeah. So we had our baby shower the day we did our soft opening for
It's got to be
our baby.
pretty scary.
It was very scary, as wanting to be able to support your family and having another mouth to feed, and then doing this again and trying to be, it's very scary.
Well, I always tell people, a lot of people don't realize this too, that when you do something like this, and I want to know, did you do this? Anytime you open up any kind of a restaurant or even a small food truck or something like this, you do some events for family, friends as a test run. Did you do that, or did you just go out and start?
We did.
You did, okay. And you'll have all kinds of failures and goof ups, but that's where you iron all that out.
Yeah.
So you did that as well?
We did. We had a little kind of like a block party for our friends on our street. We just opened it up for about an hour, and all of our friends came and supported us. They got everything from an Americano to a latte to different flavor lattes. I had friends that never drank coffee in their life just come out and have something so we could practice. These are just good people. People don't even like coffee, just came and got something just so we could practice, and they would give us their feedback.
Did it go smooth without any mess ups?
Of
or
course
did you
not.
have a few mess ups? What did you learn? What happened maybe that you learned?
Just flow. The biggest thing for us is flow. It was supposed to be originally my wife and I, and we were supposed to be doing this together. And this truck took a year longer than it was supposed to. And in that time, we got pregnant. She got pregnant, and we had a baby. So things just were different. We had our first paid for event, and our water pump at the time stopped working. Literally stopped working right before the event. My wife went over to the people and was like, look, she was in tears. Like, it stinks when you mess up.
So you had to pack up and leave?
We didn't. I got it fixed. So as she's over there in tears, like, I got this pump fixed. We obviously changed our pumps into a real pump, but we got it fixed, and it worked for the event, and everything was great.
I'd install some kind of manual pump.
We did. I definitely have a backup now,
Yeah.
just in case, but it was just little things like that. One of my first times in our neighborhood, my neighborhood that I live in is very supportive of all small businesses. And I had plumbing issues because the people that built this, they didn't use correct things. And so my tanks were leaking. And so coming out there, so it was just different things that you learn, but knowing that you learn, you can get things fixed. If things doesn't work out, you can get it fixed.
Right.
At least you know what the problem is.
Yeah, don't expect to roll up
Yes, and
your
just
first
be perfect.
time and it's not a hitch, because everything that can go wrong will.
My second event, I towed this. So the first event ever towing this, I was driving 30 miles an hour down the road because I was so scared that this was going to fall off my trailer. Now we're good. Confidence. So just little things that you're gonna get better at. Just believe in yourself. Know that you're gonna make mistakes. Nobody dies. You're gonna be okay. So, yeah.
Well, I noticed your cups here. I guess, do you stamp it? Looks like you have
I do.
ink stamp and you roll it.
So one of the books I've read, it was called Chop Wood, Carry Water. And one of the big things he said is, don't forget the small tasks it takes you to become who you are. And so I stamp. We get 500 cups at a time, and I stamp everyone by hand. But now they have an option to where I can just get them pre-stamped. So
Okay.
pay a little bit more, but yeah, stamp everything by hand.
I don't know anything about the coffee business, but as far as like supplies and stuff, I guess you've got really cheap stuff and you've got middle of the road and you've got high-end stuff. I guess, what are some of the things you learn about your supplies and things that you're using?
Well, for me, we want double insulated cups. I tried single insulated cups with like a sleeve, but it just doesn't work out well for me. So we want the
these
double
are
insulated.
double insulated. They're really thick. I like them.
Yeah, so it's good. You don't need that extra sleeve. Now we do have sleeves for Americanos because they usually run a little bit hotter because it's just hot water and espresso. The milk, a little bit less of a temperature than that. So, and then we have a really good distributor. He delivers every Wednesday. Our beans are delivered every Friday, or the Fridays that we order them, just on Fridays. We can go pick them up if we want to go out there and make a fun
local.
date. Yeah, they're local.
So it sounds like you have a good cadence, a good rhythm
We do,
going
yes.
right now.
And that just takes a while to get it too. Again, everything's efficiency, smoothness, process, systems. Just takes a while to learn that stuff.
How long did it take you to get there, to finally have that good rhythm where you had it down?
At least a year.
Really?
At least a year, and I'm still learning new things. It's good. From how I shut everything down to how I set everything up. even loading and unloading the trailer. There's just a certain way that can save me a couple minutes or improve the quality of a drink. Yeah.
Well, how'd you come up with your pricing structure?
Market research on other companies. So like, what does somebody charge? First of all, we always serve 2 shots of espresso unless requested for a single shot, but we let that be known. So what are people charging for that? So
okay.
And then
pretty
event
much
pricing.
the market, the local market.
Local
prices.
market.
Okay, by the way, back to the events. I guess when you do an event, did you say you do have a minimum?
We do have a minimum, yes.
So do you break things down, like here's a one-time charge setup fee, and then maybe you will charge a certain amount for each drink, or you start charging after a certain number, or it's just a set fee?
Man, honestly, everything's different. So the goal is to be able to serve coffee. That's what we want to do. We want to be able to get it. So we serve coffee. So there's been some events where we let them know what our minimum is, and we say, hey, if you want, we can charge, and then whatever we don't hit, you can cover the rest. Or it's like, this is what it's going to be. Is this something you guys want to take care of? And they say yes. And so we charge based off number of cups. For us, and the setup it takes to get something going, our minimum start at 50 cups. Whether you do 30 or not, that's okay.
You're going to charge a minimum
I'm
50 cups.
charging 50 cups. Now, with schools and healthcare facilities, we're going to give a discount. Healthcare is, it's in my heart, helping all those people that work there and even some of the patients that are there. But we need to do 50, and that's going to make it worth it for the people that are paying for our services as well as everybody else around, because it does take a lot to set up.
That's a good question. How long does it take to set up and then break down?
Break down, 17 minutes, 15 to 17 minutes, and that's cleaning the espresso machine, putting everything away, cleaning the dishes, and all the espresso stuff, and then loading the van back on the trailer, and then picking up the generator, put it back on the trailer. To set up, about 25 minutes. The machine takes anywhere, depending upon the temperature outside, from 17 to 23 minutes just to warm up. And so in that time, the first thing we do is we get out the generator. We start the generator, let it run for a couple minutes. We pull off the trailer, park it where it needs to go, pull the truck off the trailer.
Get this thing going,
get it, and
warming
then
up.
Plug everything in and start that. And then I can do everything else that I need to do as far as setup goes. Yeah, that just goes into the price for events as well, Okay. Setup time, cups. After we hit a certain number of cups, it's a reduced rate after so we go 50, 75, 100. It'll be like a reduced rate after the 50 cups.
Well, John, I can't think of anything else, man. I really appreciate so much you coming on this channel and sharing your story and educating us on this kind of a business, man. I appreciate it a whole lot. The biggest takeaway John shared is don't be afraid of being told no when trying to sell your products or services. It's not personal, and your objective is to find the people that will say yes to buy your products or services. The yes people are the only ones that matter. I hope you found this episode very encouraging and enlightening. I'm Curtis Mulberg, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.